Maize prices have gone up in the country. Previously, the price of maize just early this year was about 100 to 200 Ghana cedis for a bag weighing 100 kilograms. Currently, in most areas and around most maize markets, the price of maize is soaring high to about 400 Ghana cedis and 500 Ghana cedis, even reaching 550 Ghana cedis in some areas in relation to the type of corn, where mostly yellow corn is higher than the white corn. Some traders have had an uncomfortable experience with the increase in prices, and even some food vendors who use maize like kenkey sellers have been complaining about the profits which are being made. Since the prices of maize have gone up, and yet the prices of a ball of kenkey have not really gone too high, the traders and the sellers of maize and of certain food products like kenkey have decided to take a different alternative to maximize profits in areas where the high prices are affecting their sales. Speaking to some kenkey sellers, for example, they have adopted a method where they shrink the size of the ball of kenkey. Since the prices have not gone up, what the sellers do is to make a rather smaller amount and size of maize when cooking the ball of kenkey. So that if, for example, a previous ball of kenkey would weigh about 3 pounds, now they reduce it till it weighs about 1.5 pounds. Sometimes when you buy some kenkey like fancy kenkey, you would notice that there are a lot of leaves, but after removing and removing the leaves, you reach the ball of kenkey which is very small. There are some people who have even complained that after unwrapping the leaves of the fancy kenkey, the ball they saw was as small as a tennis ball. This has brought a little friction between some consumers of kenkey and their respective sellers. Whilst this goes on, marketing boards and price stabilizing agencies are still promising to do their best to make sure there's an equality of buy and sell. Since the end consumer is the one who complains the most, structures are being looked into to see how to make this better. However, most of the complaints were not from the consumers, but from the sellers who are not pleased with their reduction in profits. That is the kenkey sellers and all those who make food from maize products. A trader who we spoke to formerly used to make 500 cedi sales a week, but after the increase in maize prices, she confessed that she barely does 200 cedis a week. Now, because this is keeping her from receiving the amount she expects to be received from her wages and from all her labor, she has decided to follow suit by reducing the ball of kenkey and the measure of meal of maize inputted in the food to make the meal, so that though she sells the same number of balls of kenkey, instead of making at least 200, she'll make at least 250 to 300. Now, the only thing is she has to sell more balls of kenkey, because what would normally be used in making one ball is now being used in making 2 balls. 2 balls would mean that if she used to formerly make 300 balls to sell in a night, she will now have to look at selling 600 balls. Also, in cases where the demand for food and meal products like kenkey are high, this is not a big problem for her. She explained to us that on days where she's rarely and barely able to sell even 300 balls of kenkey, whereas she has 600, it causes a lot of work and stress, and in the long run brings loss to her, because she will have to carry those same balls, moving it about, and that will need more money compared to whereas she had sold everything. She also expresses the concern of the duration of how long the maize meal, which is like kenkey, could be kept. She explained that because the meal has to be enjoyed freshly when it's made, she doesn't like it when customers complain that her maize meal has kept too long. In case it stays overdue, the maize meal, which is kenkey, will not be as sweet and delicious to the taste of consumers as it used to be when it was fresh. So this increase in high price has led to an increase in reduction of the ball of kenkey, which has also led to an increase in the number of balls of kenkey to be sold, and has now led to an increase of carrying extra produce around, and the fear of having those extra goods and meals and kenkey meals face the danger of being expired or rejected by customers. Now, on the side of farmers, they have a bit of a mixed reaction. While some say it is not too much of a stress, others are unhappy about it. They complain that when the traders who buy their products have too much over and have not sold, there is a decrease in demand for their farm products, because a kenkey seller has not sold all her maize meal. She would not want to buy the farmer's maize meal until she has sold off completely all of her balls of kenkey. Now, there are many structures in place, and also the movement of the maize from the point of production, which is the farmer's place, through the different processes it goes through. In some cases where there are warehousing, where there are places where the maize meal will have to be removed and the maize seeds will have to be shelled, to bag, and then to transport. A lot of things go through, because each structure in place needs money to operate. This also causes an increase in the prices of the things that they would do in each procedure. Those who see there is a need to bag less have more comfort, though it will mean less income. But when there's a demand for more, that means more labor will be needed to turn the maize fruit into a maize meal. since more hands will be needed to bag after removing the seeds from the cob, and then to warehouse, and then to the different places where the traders and the middlemen convey these bags of maize to. Generally speaking, Ghana has been able to cope. It's been going by and by since it has adapted to maize as a cash crop and has been doing its best. But when we look at the areas of small farmers, middle income farmers, and new startups, this seems to be a little burden to some of them who have no experience. When there's too much demand, it works differently than when there's supply over demand. Now, this being said, every structure in place and everyone looks at making the most. The farmer wants to make the most, but he doesn't also want to produce more that will not be sold or more that will go to waste. There is a form of balance that each structure should learn to adopt to be able to do things the right way and to avoid making losses. Those in this business have expressed previous gladness with how the business have been going. But this displeasure normally comes for most who are affected by the increase in price. It is also funny to note that some middlemen and traders find the increase of the price as a good thing because they have to charge more for their services. They expect the prices to rise more so that their profits could be higher. Now that they want their profits higher, there is a little rift between those who want it to be sold fast, between those who want to keep it for as long as they can, and between those who want to just sell and make an income without the necessary increase and decrease in prices. Whilst one party wants the prices to be low so that their produce could leave the farm, another party wants it to be high so that they could make the most out of it. And there is the other party that doesn't mind either of these but just wants to quickly sell and then make their profit. There is also another area to look at. In the areas of the number of maize products that go to waste, both after harvest and also in the stage of transportation till it reaches the consumer. While some methods have been advised to most to use certain techniques with innovation technology, others are still stuck to the old methods because some have found it hard to acquire means to get these tools. It then looks like there are different schools of thought and different ones in what should be done in which area. The maize products are good essentially, and they have been a long help to Ghana in the areas of agriculture. Maize is not only used for its food content, but it's also used in making different products. There are those who also delight in the leaves and in the crops which are used to provide hay after the fruit has been taken from them. These therefore give a rise in the need for the maize product to be produced. Depending on who is doing it and where the person is getting it from, the maize will still determine what they would need to do when the prices of the maize go high. Thank you for listening, and do your best to help and support in any way to make the continuation of maize a good thing to the nation. Goodbye.